All right, in this example, we are going to do the puzzle where you have to stand on something to be able to do something. So we're going to have a valve overhead or a wheel, a valve that's controlled by a wheel. We have to turn the wheel, and but in order to do that, we've got to be standing on a crate. Now the crate, I guess this is sort of, I'm sort of throwing this together as I go, but I think what I'd like to do is put the radiation suit in the crate and then maybe, move the cargo bay way over to some other side of the map. So the player opens the crate, they find the suit, they're like, oh, okay, and then they wander off. Later, they might realize, oh, you know what, that crate that the suit was in, it wasn't just there for scenery, it was there because it has a purpose and I need to stand on it, because that, if I stand on that, I'll be able to reach the wheel that maybe controls the coolant to the reactor. Which in the last video was, overheating and producing radiation or something like that. So the first part of this is let's just get the standing on mechanic going. So to do that, we're going to use a variable. We're going to have a variable that tracks whether we're standing on something or not. We're not actually going to we're not going to put ourselves inside the crate. The problem is if we do that, then we get the crate's description and not the room's description. Although I guess we could say if we're, no, that just doesn't work that well. So we're going to have a variable, a piece of data that we set. If we're on the crate, it's a 1. If it's off the crate, it's a 0. So let's go to functions, and I've already got this function here. Let's delete it. Delete. I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, stand on crate. I'm going to make a function called stand on crate and click add. Now I'm going to right click and I've got a snippet for standing on something. Stand on something. Boom. What does the player stand on? They're going to stand on the metal crate. Okay. Variable updated. So would you like to add get on metal crate? Yes. So if we type get on metal crate, we'll stand on the crate. Perfect. Now, it said variable updated. What does that mean? Well, so here it's setting a variable. There's a variable called player on metal crate. That little snippet added a variable called player on metal crate. So this is tracking whether or not the player is on the crate or not. And it starts off being 0. We could change that if we wanted to, but we probably don't. So we're saying if we try to stand on the crate, and if we're not on the crate already, print you get on the metal crate. And now we set that variable to 1. If we're already on the metal crate, which means if this variable is already set to 1, we're not going to do this part. We're going to do this part. So we're going to print we're already on that. And Lantern added the sentences for us, get on metal crate. Now the thing is, it added some verbs for us too. It added get on. Now, if you want to get on something, you have to see it. And so let's go to verb checks here. And let's find let's find our get on verb. There it is, get on. There we go. So this, well, they're there already. But if you don't see these, you add this one. You must supply at least one noun, and you must see noun 1. Right? You need to be able to see the thing that you're trying to stand on. Otherwise, you could stand on something that you couldn't see, and that would kind of break the rules of, how this stuff works. So, so let's try it out. So launch the player. Okay, so let's go into the cargo bay, and there's a metal crate here. Get on the crate. You get on the metal crate. Now I'm going to type the word VARS. That's a debugging command that's going to dump out the variables in this game, and you can see player on metal crate equals 1. So now we have tracked that we are on the metal crate. If I run this again and I type VARS or VARS, you can see metal crate is 0. So we've got a variable that says whether we're on the metal crate or not. Let's make a function for get off the crate, or maybe get down or something. I don't know, get off the crate. We don't really need get off the crate so much, but we could add it. We'll see why in a sec. Okay, get off crate. And we have get off of something. Okay, what do we want to get off of? The metal crate. Okay. So if the metal crate Oh, no, that should be a 1. I'll go fix that snippet right there. That should be a 1. So you won't have that problem. If we're on the metal crate, which means that variable is set to 1, then we're going to print we get off the thing, and now we're not on it anymore. Oh, and there's another bug. All right. Don't worry. These will all be fixed by the time you encounter them. All right. So let's try this. East. Get on crate. Get off crate. You get off the metal crate. Okay, cool. And now that variable is set back to 0. All right, so now we can track. Oh, and now what happens if, watch this. East. Get on crate. Okay, west. And then let's type vars. Notice that on the metal crate is still set to 1, right? Because we didn't do the get off the metal crate thing. So there's a bunch of ways we could do this. Like we could say before going in any direction, if we're on the metal crate, print you get off the metal crate. We could say if we're not in the same room with the metal crate, then we can't be on the metal crate. Maybe that's a good way to do it. Let's just go add an event here. I'm going to go to my events. So events are functions that run every turn. Get off crate. They run after every time you run a command, the events run. So what I'll do is I'll make an if statement, and I'll say if the player's location pl tab tab dot l tab tab is not equal to the metal crate's location, then we're going to clear that variable player on metal crate is 0. So now if the player's not in that room, if they leave the room, we're going to set this to 0. So watch this. Let's run east, get on crate, vars. Okay, on metal crate is set to 1. If I go west now and I type vars again, notice that on metal crate is set to 0. Because after I run a command, the event's running. The event says, hey, if the player's location is not the metal crate's location, clear that variable, set it to 0. The player can't be on that thing anymore. So there we go. So that's the first part. That's getting on and off something. Okay, so now the next thing is like, let's say there's this wheel we have to turn. So let's go. What if I try to get on the crate here? It says you don't see that. Okay, perfect. East, take crate. I bet the crate's not portable. Okay, you can't take that. Let's make our crate portable. Metal crate. And we're going to make it portable. Let's make it like an openable container. Let's put our radiation suit in the metal crate. There we go. And save it. East. Open the crate. Opening the crate reveals a radiation suit. Cool. Close crate. Nice. Take crate. Okay. South. So now I'm in the valve room. Drop the crate. Okay. So this is a small engineering space with a large pipe running from the east wall to the west wall. The north to the north is an exit. There's a wheel here. Okay. So maybe we need an initial description on this, like halfway down the pipe. Or maybe we make the wheel a scenery object. Let's examine the pipe. You don't see that here. Okay, so for the valve and the pipe, we want to, and the wheel, like all that stuff. Oh, we don't have, I never made a valve. Okay, so let's put the wheel. The wheel is in the valve room. The pipe needs to be in the valve room. It says the large pipe. Okay. Let's put halfway along the pipe. Or in the middle of the pipe is a valve controlled by a hand wheel. Okay, and then I can make the wheel scenery. There we go. And let's make the pipe scenery as well. So now if I run this, uh-oh, I went into the wrong room and died. Okay, let's run that again. I want to go east because I wasn't wearing the radiation suit. This is a small engineering space with a large pipe running from east to west. To the north is an exit. Okay, so it mentioned a pipe, so examine the pipe. The large pipe runs the length of the room and is mounted just below the ceiling. In the middle of the pipe is a valve controlled by a wheel. Examine the wheel. Halfway along the pipe is okay, well, I could say it's a small hand wheel or something like that. But the important part is that the wheel is in the room here. So if I, maybe I have to turn the wheel. Okay, it doesn't know the verb turn. All right, here's where now we've got the mechanic of standing on something. Now what we're going to do is use that to we're going to have an action here that that we're going to put a check on. We're going to check to see if we're standing on the box when we go to turn something. So let's go to verbs here, and I'm going to add turn as a verb. So I'm going to add turn as a verb, and then let's go to verb checks and put some rules on something. So I've got turn. Let's say if we want to turn something, we have to say what we want to turn. So we must have to supply at least one noun, and we must see that thing. So to turn something, we have to say what we want to turn, and we have to be able to see it. So now if I run this, at least it should know the word turn. Missing noun. Turn me. I don't follow you. Okay, but at least it now recognizes the verb turn. So let's make a function now called turn wheel. And we'll print, you turn the wheel. We could also rather than putting a check on this, we could also put an if statement around it too. And maybe I'll show you how to do that. You turn the wheel, causing coolant to flow to the reactor. Now, maybe we need a variable that says whether we've turned the wheel or not. Otherwise, like, the player could keep turning the wheel. But now we know that the wheel and the well, how's that going to work? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could just make an if statement. If, tab, tab. We could also do this as a check. If we try to turn the wheel, we need to see if we're standing on the box. So in here in our if statement, we're going to test that variable, and it was player on metal crate. There we go. So is equal to 1. And then once we've done that, we had a variable that said whether the reactor was fixed or not. So let's go to, we'll set that variable to 1. We'll say we fixed the reactor. Okay. Save. So we've got our turn wheel function. Okay, so now that we know that turning the wheel fixes the reactor, we could also say if the reactor fixed is equal to 0, so double equals means equal to 0, we'll print, oops, else, tab, tab, print line, the wheel won't turn any farther. Further, further, farther, further. Okay. So if the player's on the crate and the reactor has not been fixed, print that we turn the wheel causing coolant to flow to the reactor, and then set that variable to 1, the one that says that the reactor's been fixed. If the reactor wasn't fixed, we're not going to do this part, we're going to do this part, and then it'll print the wheel won't turn any further. Okay, so, and then all of this is embedded in this right here. It says we have to be on the crate in order to do this. So now we just have to make a sentence. So if the verb is turn and the first object is the wheel, then we're going to call our turn wheel function instead and click add. There we go. Save it. So let's test it. Upper deck, east, south, turn wheel. Oh, whoops, I had turn off wheel. Whoops, I put in the wrong sentence. Delete. turn. I just want to turn the wheel, not turn off the wheel. Turn the wheel. Turn wheel. Come on, turn. Why does it keep putting turn off in there? Oh, do we have a bug? That is bad. All right, minor bug there, but I fixed it. So the verb is turn and the noun is wheel. If we try to turn the wheel, call our turn wheel function instead. Add. Okay. Now let's save that and run it. Turn wheel. You don't see that here. East, south. Okay, so let's look at our variables. So on metal, player on metal crate is set to 0. Turn wheel. The wheel is out of reach. Okay, nice. North, take crate. South, drop crate. Oh, you know, we could probably get on the crate while we're carrying it. That would be kind of interesting. All right, maybe we need to figure out how to do that. Drop, or to fix that. Drop crate. Dropped. Stand on crate. You get on the metal crate. Okay, look, so we're still in that room. And if I type VARS, we can see that we're on the metal crate because that variable is set to 1. Now I should be able to turn the wheel. You turn the wheel, causing coolant to flow to the reactor. What if I turn the wheel again? Turn wheel. The wheel won't turn any further. Cool. All right, now let's go north and west. And notice we're not getting that alert about the radiation anymore because that's controlled by the reactor variable. What we really need to do is, and I guess I will go update the snippet for this. So again, you probably won't have to do this. If you want to stand on something, we could say if the metal crate, metal crates dot location is equal to the player, then what we're going to do is we'll print dropped, and then we will put the crate, metal crate, we'll set the metal crate's location to be the player's location. There you go. So now if we try to get on something, we have to drop it. That also might apply to, like, if we try to take the metal crate, we probably want to make sure that we're not standing on it. I don't know. Or we've got that event, right? We have that event we could go look at. Let's go look at our event. We have our get off the crate event. So if the player's location is not the metal crate's location, then, oh yeah, that would clear itself anyway. So if we pick up the crate, then we're automatically off the crate. That works. Cool. All right, let's whoops. You get on the metal location. What did I just break? This thing. Metal crate. Dot location. I just spelled it wrong. Metal crate dot location dot location. Awesome. Okay, so east, take the crate. South, stand on crate. Dropped. You get on the metal crate. Cool. So we fixed it. So there it is. There's how to check. There's how to, like, use that variable that says whether you're standing on something to control an action. Another way of doing this would be to create a verb check. So we could have written a verb check that says if you're trying to turn something, check to see if it's in reach, or check to see if we're standing on the box. So what I could do is I could say, check on crate. And we don't actually have to do this, but and then what we could do is say, I think we have check if standing on something. What does the player have to be standing on? the metal crate. So if the player is not on the metal crate, print it's out of reach. Oops, and then stop. There we go. So we would then put this this check on the verb turn. So if we try to turn something, we're going to check to see if we're on the metal crate. If we're not, we're going to print it's out of reach and then stop. So that is another way of handling that. We could put a check. We could do a check there, or we could use an if statement. It's all good. So either way works. So there it is. There we have the standing on this. You need to stand on something to do something type of puzzle.